Of course I died because people didn't want their money to go away. You understand?
The people didn't want, I'm sorry.
Well, the Sanhedrin stood to lose a lot of money. What happened was, in the first century, the way government was run was there was a temple tax. And the temple tax was, I think at the time, two gold coins. Mm-hmm. And every person who was a member of the Jewish religion had to pay it. And there used to be people from the temple going around collecting this tax. And this tax meant that almost 4 tons of gold entered the high priest's control every single year. So you imagine in terms of today's money, how much that was. You're talking billions of dollars, right? Mm-hmm. Of gold would enter the high priest's control every single year. Now, the more I preached, the more danger there was that less people would pay the tax, which meant that there'd be less gold going into the high priest's coffers. And this also meant that there'd be less gold going to Pilate, because Pilate used to filter off some gold from the high priest. And Pilate did that. He didn't send this gold to Rome. He kept that for himself. So a lot of procurators did that in that time. They used to go to an outlying country where there was still Roman government, but not. It was hard for Caesar to see what was going on. And what they would do is they would siphon off a lot of the cash and give some of the cash to Caesar and keep some for themselves. Right? So both Pilate and the high priest now had a lot of money to lose if my teachings grew to such an extent that people no longer believed in the Jewish faith. Because if they no longer believe in the Jewish faith, they'd no longer go to the temple. They'd no longer get sacrifices for their sins, because now they'd realise that they didn't need to sacrifice anything for their sins. They needed to be more obedient to law instead. Mm-hmm. And once they started realising these particular things, they would probably not attend the temple and therefore not pay the tax.
So when they understood divine truth, these trappings would be just that. I mean, the other things would be just trappings.
Yeah, these are it's huge amount of wealth mm-hmm. that they stood to lose mm-hmm. if my teachings grew any further than they already had grown. Because by this stage, there were thousands of people coming along to my seminars. Well, that's what you'd call them nowadays, right? A seminar. We did it on the side of the Galilee or on the side of, the Jordan or something like that.